Hi, I'm Megan Martinez, and I'm currently enrolled in SPCE 630, Section 814 with Professor Carrasquillo. Today is October 12th, 2025, and I'm going to begin by shuffling my deck of cards 3 times and splitting them down the middle. 1, 2, 3, split down the middle. I'm going to be holding my cards so that the definition's facing me, terms facing the camera. I have a 1-minute timer set already on my phone, and with that being said, I'm going to get started right now. Lasting products of the behavior of interest may be natural or contrived. Permanent products. Amount of data from one phase that overlaps or occurs within the range of the data from another phase. Less overlap is representative of a stronger effect. Overlap. Some extraneous event that occurred during the study and impacted the dependent variable. Pass. Type of single case research design with repeated introduction and removal of the independent variable with the participant and target behavior. Withdrawal design. Quantitative experimental approach in which participants serve as their own control uses visual analysis of data. Single case research design. Research question that evaluates the effectiveness of an independent variable at different levels or amounts. Pass. Quantifiable and observable events that are compared with known facts to form hypotheses. Description. Okay, that's my timer. I'm going to continue on through the deck. How much of behavior occurred? Categorized as low, medium, or high based on value displayed on y-axis. Level. Relationship that exists when the independent variable causes changes in the dependent variable. Evidence of experimental control. Functional relation. Captures all occurrences of the behavior of interest during an observation. Continuous measurement. Time sampling procedure. Record behavior if it occurs at the moment the interval ends. Momentary time sampling. The percentage of data points during the intervention phase that do not overlap with the baseline phase, indicating a change in behavior due to the intervention. A higher PND suggests a stronger effect. Pass. Research question that analyzes of 2 or more independent variables that make up a treatment package. Pass. Research question that evaluates whether a particular intervention works or the impact of an intervention. Demonstration research question. Nice. Type of single case research design that involves intermittent data collection at specific points in time to assess whether the behavior change is occurring without continuous monitoring, allowing for more flexible and resource efficient analysis. Multiple probe design. Uses a 2-dimensional area that is formed by the intersection of 2 perpendicular lines. Any point on the plane represents a specific relation between the 2 dimensions represented by the perpendicular lines. Line graph. The extent to which the findings of a study can be generalized to other situations, people, etc. External validity. The extent to which the order of the conditions may impact the dependent variable. Pass. The extent to which intervention conditions are implemented as designed. Treatment fidelity. The time between the onset of some environmental event and the target response. Latency. Variable time is manipulated by the experimenter in order to determine if changes in the dependent variable will occur. Independent variable. The slope and direction of the data on best fit line within the phase. Trend. Measurement of the behavior taken before interventions are started. Baseline data. Developmental processes within the participants during the course of the study that may account for changes in the dependent variable. These developmental processes may be permanent or temporary. Maturation. Rapid alternation of interventions within a participant group that allows for the comparison of the interventions to one another, aka alternating treatments design, multi-element design. Demonstrated when the predicted change in the dependent variable occurs when the independent variable is manipulated by the researcher. Basic effect. Degree to which an assessment measures what it is supposed to. Validity. The extent to which a prior condition may impact the dependent variable within the current condition. Pass. Single case research design where the criterion for reinforcement or behavior change is gradually altered over time. Changing criterion design. Improved functioning as determined by measured improvement in observable behaviors to an amount that is meaningful. Clinical significance. Time sampling procedure. Record occurrence if target behavior occurs for the entire duration of the interval. Whole interval recording. 2 events shown to covary over repeated observations allow for estimations to be made about the future occurrence of those events. Prediction. Non-experimental design that includes 2 phases, A and B. Pass. 2-dimensional graph with logarithmic scaled y-axis so that equal distances on the vertical axis represent changes in behavior that are of equal proportion. Pass. Time elapsed from the end of the previous response and the beginning of the next response. Inter-response time? Okay, good. Magnitude of change in a level between the end of the phase and the beginning of another. Pass. Degree to which an experiment is conducted effectively or evaluates the effects of the independent variable and not confounding variables. Internal validity. Type of instability in the data that represents a repeated pattern of data variability across time. Cyclical variability. Cyclical. I don't know. Represents the number of trials or opportunities required for some performance criterion to be met. Trials 2 criterion. Systematic investigation and manipulation of variables to identify associations and understand process research. Equal distances on the axis represent equal absolute amounts of the variable plotted on the axis. Pass. Number of responses per unit of time or frequency divided by unit of time rate. Research question that evaluates which intervention is more effective. Comparison research question. Single case research design with sequential introduction of an intervention across multiple behavior settings or individuals. Demonstrate the effect of the intervention by comparing baseline and intervention phases. Multiple baseline design. How many times the behavior occurs? Frequency. Variation of momentary time sampling to record the behavior of a group. Count the number of people engaged in the behavior at the moment the interval ends. PLA check. The range or the spread of the data within a phase. Pass. The phenomenon of interest, aka outcome variable, dependent variable. Variable that impacts the dependent variable but is not the phenomenon of interest. Pass. Graph in which the cumulative number of responses is represented on the vertical axis with a steeper slope being indicative of a higher response rate. Pass. Changes in data that result from the novel environmental conditions associated with onset of data collection. Adaptation. Type of research in which large groups of individuals are assigned to one of 2 or more study conditions and differences are statistically analyzed. Between group research. Man, I'm out of breath. Estimate of the occurrence of behavior within a specific time period. Pass. Time sampling procedure, record occurrence if target behavior occurs at any point during the interval. Partial interval recording. Non-experimental research that identifies relationships between variables. Correlational research. Demonstration of a functional relation through the manipulation of an independent variable while observing changes in the dependent variable. Control. How long a behavior occurs. Duration. Degree to which an assessment tool produces consistent measurements. Reliability. Change that occurred in how the dependent variable was recorded threatens internal validity. Instrumentation. The basis for experimental reasoning used within applied behavior analysis, which includes prediction, verification, and replication. Pass. That was all my cards. Thanks for watching.